Welcome back to Bonanza Disc Golf. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Discmania Cloudbreaker and seeing if it's just a clone. We're at Garden Club Disc Golf Course here in Panama City, Florida, and this is another Patreon-sponsored Bag It or Bin It, meaning that one of my third-tier patrons wanted me to check out the Cloudbreaker, and I have only thrown this disc one time before. I was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I was playing at a league there, and these had just come out, and so I went and threw one, and then right after I threw it, I was like, that seems exactly like this disc, which is a slightly beat-in Rive. It had been in my bag for a while, and I threw them back-to-back, and they flew almost identically. To be honest, if we just feel these two discs next to each other, the Cloudbreaker's numbers are 12, 5, negative 1, 3, whereas this are 13, 5, 0, 3.5, but the feeling on them is so similar. I would say that you can feel like this blade at the very end is a little bit thinner on the Cloudbreaker, and it feels the plastic is definitely different. This is the Special Blend S-Line plastic from Discmania. This is the Royal plastic from Latitude 64. But if you put them in your hand, I'm gonna take back what I thought. You can definitely tell that this is slightly different, but not significantly so. I think that this is pretty much just a retooled Rive because I know Discmania is working a lot with Trilogy and specifically Latitude 64. So today, as with all Bag It or Bin It's, we're gonna be throwing the Cloudbreaker on 6 holes against the other 2 Rives because this one is slightly beat in. This one is more new, but not totally new. There are some good holes to test out the forehand and backhand, starting with a 360-foot forehand hole. My elbow doesn't feel the best after I throw a little bit, so I'm gonna make sure that I tone it down and only play about every other day because I have been playing bunch of holes every single day. So I'm gonna try to not throw like absolutely max crazy ripping power shots. I'm just gonna try to keep it controlled and calm. So I might be throwing a little bit shorter than I normally throw on the channel, but I genuinely wanna see if this is any different than this Rive because I've only thrown them once, but they flew exactly the same. There's a car literally just parked in the fairway. What the heck are you doing? All right, we're probably gonna have to start on a backhand hole, which is really dumb. But real quick, we're trying to get 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if we do that, I'm gonna be doing a marathon live stream, making 1 putt for every subscriber over 15,000. So please subscribe. That'd be awesome. Why are you in the fairway? All right, I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted that other hole to be our first hole because this is a water carry. Also, new bag, not a sponsor, but they send it out and I have both their bags to review that will be coming in early January. If you wanna pick one up though, Bonanza 10 gives you 10% off and is an affiliate code, so you'll help support the channel. Link in the description as always. Yeah, it's a 350-foot hole, which I probably would be throwing a Rive on this because I need something that's gonna be stable at the end. The only question is, I really just wanted to see how this flew before I threw it on a water hole because if I put it in the water, we might not have a video. We're gonna go ahead and throw my most stable Rive first, which is the disc that I bagged. And this is one where I'm kind of comfortable dumping it off a little bit left. I'm gonna try to just put it out on pure hyzer the whole way because I don't want to worry about the water. Get up, please. Wow, that was such a bad shot. My miss has been very low recently. I thought that was straight in the water. That was a terrible shot. I think we gotta go Cloudbreaker. I'm gonna put this one on more hyzer and just keep this one safer. Yeah, this definitely feels more bladed. Like this even feels bigger in my hand than the Rive. Even though the Rive, yeah, this fits more comfortably. Maybe because the parting line is a little bit lower here, but they both have a similar dome. They look very similar. This just fits slightly less comfortably, but the plastic I like a little bit better. Pretty standard, simple shot. Not a lot of flip up, didn't throw it crazy hard. I'm gonna try to throw this Rive the exact same and see if there's any difference. Not quite the exact same. Similar, very similar, just different lines. We have 5 holes to iron out the differences in these guys and hopefully people move their freaking cars and stop feeding the freaking ducks. Those are the fattest ducks in Florida right there. All right, we have a pretty interesting spread here. The Cloudbreaker right down here. This did go slightly shorter than the other 2, but I think I put it on more hyzer and like really just wanted to make sure I didn't dunk the disc that I'm freaking reviewing on the first throw of the video with it. That would not be a good way to start a YouTube video. Also, I forgot to mention this, but for all my Bag It or Bin It's, if I can't beat par with the disc that I'm reviewing, I have to give it away normally in a giveaway, but since this is a Patreon sponsored Bag It or Bin It, it'll have to go to Brendan, who was my patron, who requested the Cloudbreaker. Good start, no, terrible, wow. I do not know why I thought that that was in. I am very embarrassed right now. All right, let's hope that that doesn't set the standard for this video because that was embarrassing. But honestly, the way that these two feel against each other is very similar. They both have that slight dome, not quite pop top, but this plastic is very flexible from that swirly S-line. It's even more flexible than the Royal plastic, which I kind of like. This does, like I said, feel slightly more bladed on the end, but other than that, they feel very similar in the hand. Discmania feels kind of like a 13 speed, not like a 12 speed, which is why I think a lot of people think it's just a retooled Rive. The forehand grip definitely feels more comfortable with the Rive because this is just a little bit sharp, but I feel like I have good, yeah, it's just a little sharp, but I feel like I have really good control over it. So we're gonna try the forehand here. 300 feet ahead of us is the basket, and we're gonna try to go through this small lane on just flat to hyzer and see how much it'll work back. Hope that this forehand work has been paying off. Okay, I would say so. That's a great shot. Now I'm gonna try to replicate that same exact shot because it's exactly what I want it to do, and we'll see if they have a very similar fight back or if they're less stable. I think I left that one a little higher, but that one does seem... We'll try this other Rive. Oh, wow, yep. That one just got more and more inside, so... Yeah, good job missing your line. They all flew relatively similarly though. I think the problem is, like, since I'm trying to be smooth instead of giving them a lot of power, you really start to see the differences in these faster discs when, like, I really juice them up. But that being said, if you're not trying to forehand these 360, 380, you're not trying to throw a 420 on a backhand, and there will be a hold that we try to kind of let loose-ish on, they'll probably fly relatively similarly. And honestly, I like the plastic a little bit more from the Cloudbreaker than I do from the Rives. Okay, super interesting. The Cloudbreaker did not actually go shorter than the other Rive. It went just as, wow, yeah, they are both pin high, exactly. Perfect shot, 300 feet of hyzer on a forehand. I'm very, very happy with that. Little headwind. Yeah, of course, I'll make that putt, but I won't make a freaking 10-footer. Sometimes you gotta miss one to make them. All right, our next hole, we're gonna be teeing off from right at the edge here, and we're gonna be going to that basket. It's 340 feet out, which is not a distance that I typically throw something like this, unless I was trying to throw a hyzer to get there. But we're actually going to shorten it a little bit, because I've heard some people say that they wanna see these on slightly smaller distances. I know this might be slightly out of some people's range, but 330, I think, is what a lot of people are trying to reach for with these distance drivers. So I wanna show you what the flight looks like on that. We're gonna call Mando to the left of that tree, and we have a headwind. So we're gonna see if it really is a Cloudbreaker, and same order, gonna have to throw probably a baby Anhyzer, try to get it out there, and there's OB to the left on that road. They're all under par, just my normal Rive first. All right, that's pretty much pin high, a little left, definitely held and fought in the wind. We're gonna see if I throw that Cloudbreaker the same, how it'll do. You can definitely see I threw that a little flatter even than the other Rive, and it held turn a little bit more. So I definitely think it's slightly flippier, especially in the wind, than that other Rive is. It's hard to tell when everything just stays on hyzer because you don't let it get up to flat, but that definitely wanted to turn a little bit more. And here is my flippier Rive. Okay, I missed my line a little bit to the left, but that had a very similar flight pattern. So I think my assessment of the Cloudbreaker is just a slightly beaten Rive. Pretty accurate. All right, I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm very impressed with my distance control here because you guys are basically, if we were to walk in a straight path from where we teed off. And so all of these are right, almost within 10 feet of each other, pin high, within 8 feet of each other. Cloudbreaker's closest because I threw it flatter than I threw that Rive, and it still turned pretty much the same. So it's definitely less stable. Really, really happy with all of these. Low. Pretty solid disc. I like that slot a lot. All right, that sign is a very obvious lie because the basket ranges to 402 feet, slightly downhill. So we're gonna have to throw these on some Anhyzer because if we look over there, I don't have the forehand juice to get there, and with my elbow already hurting, I don't even want to try. Especially with a tailwind, it's gonna stable it out slightly more. So this Rive, we're gonna have to put on much more Anhyzer than these shots, which I think if we throw the same, which definitely still will probably be a decent bit of Anhyzer, not flat at all. It's not gonna turn that much. Definitely need some Annie and leave it out wide. We might be able to get down there for some circle one looks on a nice easy 400 footer. A little two nose up, it's gonna stall faster, especially in the tailwind. It's down there pretty good, but it's probably pin high, but I threw it a little nose up. So we're gonna try the Cloudbreaker, pretty similar, just a little more nose down. Much better, flex out of it. Oh, go in the basket. That was really good. Gonna try to throw the same shot with the Rive. Yep. Pretty similar shot, slightly more angle on the Anhyzer, I believe, and I threw it slightly harder because I really followed through a little better on that one, but those ones are down there. First Rive, a little two nose up. So if you're struggling with throwing those Anhyzer shots, focus on getting your nose down. Like that. Actually, those might not be inside the circle. Those are probably 430 to 460, but they are slightly downhill with the tailwinds. I didn't even throw them max power, as you saw. I threw them good, but I didn't like rip on them. And I don't have 450 consistently, so this is gonna be a sick putt to make. Told you. Let's go. Stay up. Oh, good height, really good height. Keep it up, buddy, come on. Cloudbreaker is still beating the other Rive. We have 2 holes left. We're gonna go one kind of a dumb line, see if we can get a big shot. And the second, we're gonna go back to that 360-foot forehand hole, see how they hold a pretty strong forehand. All right, this hole is only about 320 feet out there, but I kind of want to take the big hyzer through the tree. It's not the smart play, but there is a crosswind that's helping us that way, so I think I'm gonna try to hang a big hyzer out that way and see if we can get something that crashes back closer to the basket. That's the line I wanted. It's not even gonna close to be far enough though. That's kind of a dumb thing to try, but we're still gonna go for it. That's better. That's a lot better. A little more angle than just height. Oh, it's farther, but it is not getting back enough, so I've got to go higher and more angle. I don't think I can do that, but we'll try. Hit the gap. Yes, that's what I wanted to hit. It's gonna stall too much though. It's a little too nose up, had to be. But it's the closest. Got a lot of big putts with their kind of death putts. I thought that tree was a lot closer and it was gonna be a lot easier of like a, hey, let's see, max power hyzer. On hyzer, honestly, they all act pretty similar. Once they get to like that flip point where they can move right a little bit, that's where I see the newer Rive having a little more stability than the beat-in Rive and the Cloudbreaker. Of course, I could play to just make sure that I get these pars, but you gotta run everything on this channel. It makes things more fun. Oh, too high. Oh, dang it. All right, our 6th hole here, you can see through those trees. That guy's kind of about 80 feet up and left of it. We're gonna throw through this gap on some flex, get it to turn back. A part of me wants to just try to throw them. I think I'm actually just gonna try to throw them all flat because I need a skip with them. And when you flex something, when it flexes and then comes back, the angle that it comes back on and the speed isn't quite as severe, so it doesn't want to skip as much. So if you're ever trying to mitigate a skip, try to flex something a little bit, and when it comes back, it won't do that. Or flip it up to flat and come down instead of just straight hyzer, or flat to hyzer. It's gonna retain all that speed, which is what we want on this hole, but I don't know if I have the juice, so. Not as flat as I want. Shoot. That's about 40 short, I believe, because I threw it on some slight hyzer. I've been tending to release like that. I really got to focus on my hit point, focus on my release. Cloudbreaker, no. Yes. Better. Oh, come on. Oh, I probably should have left it a little wider, so I'm going to do that with this Rive. I definitely probably need a little bit of flex even on this, because on my max distance, I am flexing it for sure, so. More flexing, as you can see, it's not gonna skip as much, but that has the most distance. I think that Cloudbreaker would have gotten that downhill skip too, which would have probably put it within circle 1, but just smack that tree. Last chance with this other Rive. Luckily, no matter what, as long as I make the putt from the Cloudbreaker won't lose. Snuck it over the line there. Alrighty, Rive boy, you got this. Little crosswind, no match for you. What? I know I didn't lift it because it was a little bit too flat, but I was trying to give it a little hyzer putt. Pink Rive is the loser. In terms of the Discmania Cloudbreaker, I would have to, I think obviously say bag it because I bag this same type of disc. So really solid out of the box. This is something where if I wanted to put it on that little baby hyzer, watch it flip up and turn a little bit at max power, I think this is something I'd definitely be able to do that with, but I didn't want to have to throw any crazy max power shots today. If you want kind of the flight that you see the pros throw Rives on, and you're throwing right now maybe 350, 360, this is probably a disc that'll kind of achieve the similar things for you. So if you want to check out my last Patreon sponsor, Bag It or Bin It, check it out right over here. About all cast to plastic. But if you're interested in my favorite driver at the moment, check it out right down here. Lat 264 Grace. Solid disc. I don't know if it's going to be my favorite driver forever though, because we don't talk about that. Okay, love you. Bye. Subscribe please, and like the video and all those things. You're awesome. Peace.